The Scirocco is a constant hot desert wind blowing off the Sahara, according to the dictionary. And hot is what this car is. Volkswagen has brought the Scirocco into its third generation, and given its very prestigious heritage, hopes were high indeed for the latest version. As Matas Kurat, our car expert, says, VW has finally produced a car to excite you. In profile, everything looks very dynamic. This window line, which ends low, gives the car a really sporty feel. The hood is pulled forward and down, with compact headlights and a small radiator grille, which gives this car an aggressive vibe and could prompt the driver ahead to pull aside. Black design elements out front and along the sides have been favored by VW for years for their sportier models. The broad back and the roof spoiler add to that edgy, sporty feel. But the Scirocco isn't just meant to be a sports car. According to our tester, it's also an everyday workhorse, which is why it's got a big cargo area. Sadly, it can only be opened via remote control. But once you've got it open, there's 312 liters of space, even with the seats in position. With the seats down, you can actually fit over 1,000 liters in the back. But what's it like for the passengers? Well, Mata says you can't compare the available space in the rear of the Scirocco with a luxury sedan. If you're tall, you'll notice you're a bit cramped in the headroom department. And the windows really aren't big. There is enough legroom, though, and very comfortable individual seats because the Scirocco only accommodates 4. The sporty interior lives up to the promise made by its exterior, although the dashboard is relatively lackluster. The gas and diesel engines on offer crank out between 140 and 200 horsepower. We tested the larger 2-liter engine version, which officially accelerates from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 7.2 seconds. Our expert is eager to put that figure to the test. Meeting the manufacturer's acceleration specs does demand some brisk changing of gears, but the twin-clutch transmission helps us out nicely. 7.2 seconds is, with a bit practice, possible. This heavy hitter only starts to let up at around 235 kilometers per hour. And the chassis seems to say the Scirocco is ready to take on just about anything. A word of caution: with its racy sports car feel plus powerful engine, higher speed should be approached with care. Otherwise, you'll be off the road faster than it took you to get on it. Ever since the introduction of Europe-wide NCAP crash tests, car safety and the protection of occupants have improved steadily. The tests are carried out as head-to-head crashes with an overlap of 50%. But out on the road, most accidents occur with a much smaller overlap. The problem is that the parts of the chassis specially put in place to absorb impact are ineffective, as the majority of crashes affect areas where there is little protection. Another problem is that vehicles on the road are of differing height and width. Their weights vary, and some have tougher frames than others. There is a big advantage in combating these problems to improve protection for other cars you might hit. The German Auto Club's accident research program shows that most front-end crashers occur with an overlap of only about 20%. To enable better comparison, they use 2 identical cars. It's almost impossible to see in real time. The impact is absorbed on the edges, which are not properly buffered. The cabin is unable to protect the occupants, and the wheels of the 2 cars interlock. According to Volker Santner of the German Automobile Association, the chassis beams take the force and transfer it to the windscreen pillars, to structures that are not meant to take it. Vehicles in this test lost their wheels. That means that the front axle was pulled off. The force of the impact was taken up here, but ultimately it went into the windscreen pillars and the footwell of the other car, and that means severe injury to the legs and other extremities. But a side-on crash could also mean the head hitting the A-pillar, particularly if the airbag system does not work properly. In a second test, the ADAC used the same vehicle model, but widened the chassis crossbeams and installed a deflector shield. This was meant to stop the two cars' front wheels from becoming tangled and to reduce the impact on the cabin and passengers. There's an upper route for the force of impact. The idea was simple, just to bring this element out to the side to create one more reinforcement. That extends the crumple zone not only to the side members, but also includes these outer areas and creates a surface that deflects parts of the other car. That helps protect the critical areas. The vehicles are put back together in preparation for the second crash test. Even in real time, you can see that the two cars virtually slide past one another. The cabin remains a safe area for the occupants, and the wheels do not get caught up in one another. The results show that the average force on the dummies is reduced by 35%. Part of the reason for that is that a new emergency braking system helps absorb the impact. The test center head is pleased. Here we can see the deflection area. This shows that the two vehicles deflected on that surface, were able to hold up, and in the further course of the crash did not damage the cabin of the car. The cabin, the windscreen pillar, and the footwell are still as intact as they would be in a new car. The deflection panel could also be widened to the front of the car. That would enable the use of deflection panels to enable different vehicles of different sizes to slide past one another, so as to ultimately create better compatibility between different types of vehicles. The International Motor Show in Frankfurt will see Porsche unleashing the new 911 Turbo. For the first time in the model's 35-year history, the 7th generation has a completely redesigned engine with a 3.8-liter capacity and 500 horsepower. Buyers of the 6-cylinder turbo now also have the option of a 7-speed Porsche twin-clutch transmission. The 911 Turbo will hit German showrooms at the end of November in coupe and convertible versions. The basic version will cost around 146,000 euros. The new generation of the Clio Sport is ready to go. Renault's Super Mini now boasts a front spoiler design reminiscent of Formula One cars. The technical highlight is perhaps the souped-up 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, boasting 201 horsepower. The sporty 6-speed manual transmission helps propel the Clio Sport from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 6.9 seconds. Prices in Germany start at 22,500 euros. Peugeot is presenting its new compact MPV, but it's a bit of a number puzzle. The new van is called the 5008, even though it's part of the 308 family. The answer to the puzzle is easy. After bringing out so many variations of its successful compact series, Peugeot simply ran out of numbers. The 2 zeros give Peugeot extra options. Thomas Schallberger of Peugeot says the new van is an important addition to the company's range of family vehicles. The 5008 fits in above the classic station wagon and just below the bigger vans. The compact MPV label guarantees up to 7 seats if needed, but the 2 seats at the very back fold away into the floor and can be pulled out using just one hand. The 5008's interior is anything but cluttered. The driver has all the latest technology at his disposal. The display is located where it's easy to see. Passengers in the second row can enjoy multimedia entertainment, an optional extra for those with spare cash to spend. but the flexible seating system is the highlight. Our Peugeot man says the seats are now very easy to move. In older compact vans, you had to pull several levers, and sometimes you had to lock the seat in place. It's not like that here. You pull it out in one go and put it away in one go. Peugeot has also opted not to go for the huge radiator grille this time. The 5008 is aimed at a mass market, and Peugeot is banking on big sales. The new compact MPV will become available in Germany later this year.